Yo, can you hear me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.
What a week.
Welcome. It's Freedom Week, and it's a podcast, all of which means we can say and do anything we damn well want to. But unlike Andre de Ruyter, we choose to entertain and reliably inform you. We're excited to have our first official partner for WAW. We've teamed up with Ster-Kinekor Action Weekends to focus on the next 5 huge action films that are coming out on Ster-Kinekor. We're going to be showing you trailers and talking about what's coming up and coming out, and you never know, we may even have some big surprise guests on the show in May. So watch this space. Thanks for joining us again. Let's get straight into it. Welcome to WAW, What a Week, part of the Africa Podcast Network.
This is What a Week.
What a week. You can't make this shit up.
Yes, our guest is in the building. Yes, he grew up in a colored community. Yes, he's in stand-up. No, he's not a Goliath. No, he's not related to Trevor Noah either. And no, he doesn't have an auntie named Merle. What he does have is an impressive run as a comedian who's picking up even more praise. Please welcome Robby Collins.
Yo, what's happening, my brother?
Rob.
How you doing?
How you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Dude, firstly, been a fan forever.
Thank you.
Been a fan of your come up. But you've achieved a lot in a short space of time.
Yeah, I feel like everything's clicking.
Yes.
Everything's clicking. It's my 15th year of comedy.
Yeah.
And you know, when I opened for Chappelle in 2018,
Name drop.
Yeah, I was touring around South Africa with him, and the whole time I was waiting for him to give me some advice.
Yes.
And it was 10 years into my comedy at the time, and he leaned forward and he's like, "Yo, how long are you doing for?" I'm like, 10 years. And his simple one-line advice was, "Now it's going to make sense."
Oh, yes. Because often we are pushing and nothing is happening.
Totally. And I feel like sometimes the dreams I had, I probably wasn't ready for them.
Oh, yes.
To be honest with myself, you know, like you can dream and want things, but sometimes you're not ready for it. And I feel like now I'm at the right maturity to.
Surely had you not dreamt that big, though, you might have given up earlier.
100.
Because you'd set the bar here for yourself. Maybe you were only ready to go up to here, but because you dreamt this big, you were like, I need to do this.
Yeah. It's definitely that feeling of, you know, like you feel like you have a calling.
Yeah.
And there's many nights on stage where you feel like it's not working.
Yes.
But then there's those few nights that happen in a week that just makes you go, okay, I'm on the right path. This is going to happen. The money's going to happen. Everything's going to happen to you if you literally just stay present and work on what you have.
Do you remember the show where you left the stage and felt that, okay, maybe it's not working?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Where was this?
The first bombing was in Durban where I started. I remember, I will never forget this lady's face. She was in the front row eating a steak. And I told a joke and she just looked up to me and she just shook her head. And she put a piece of meat in her mouth and she just carried on. And I remember, I'll never forget this woman's face. If I see her now, I'll know exactly who it is.
Let me tell you something. When you perform on stage, you never ever forget those people.
No.
I did a gig at Mangosuthu Technicon in 2004. And Mantech was very notorious for if they don't like you. In fact, if they like you, if you get 5 cans thrown at you while you're on stage, you're not doing badly.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. If you get about 20 cans or one guy going like this, there was a guy, dude, I'm rocking it. It's 2004. I think I've just released Definition of House, if I'm not mistaken. I'm feeling like I own the world. I'm doing breakfast at YFM. And just one guy stood right in front. And he did this.
I got booed. I got booed off stage at Opi Kopi 2017, and the worst part is I just come back from Montreal, Canada.
Yeah.
So I had the confidence of my passport's been stamped, and those kids, those drunk kids, dude, they threw a Vos roll at me, but the Vos roll didn't have butter on it, so it split. So the Vos was this side, the roll is this side. But now, you know, Opi, you can't just leave. It's out in the wilderness.
Exactly.
So I had to spend the night there. So the whole night I'm trying to just drink it off. And people keep remembering what happened. And they keep pointing like, you were shit. Like, I just take me home.
And then you go to your tent. Every time you close your eyes, you see a Wolfsburg coming at you. Oh, man.
Oh, but those nights are great. You have an option after that. You just go, okay, cool. They don't like me.
Yeah.
That's fine. So let me just carry on. You know what I mean? If they don't like you, they're not going to remember you.
Absolutely. So obviously then, Chappelle says it's starting to make sense now.
Yes.
But once it starts making sense, it's almost like when one thing clicks into place, everything clicks into place.
100%.
How are you dealing with that sudden, oh, shit, everything is happening now?
Yeah, it's keeping a tight circle.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
You know how it is. It's,
Yeah.
You got to be able to look around you and say, who are my friends?
Yes,
Who are my loved ones? Because in this day and age, especially with social media, you're always getting love.
Yes.
Or you're always getting hate.
Absolutely.
So you got to choose what you pick up and what you put down. Because otherwise, like, people can make you feel amazing, and that's great. But also at the same time, you can't give them too much power, because when they don't like you, then it can also affect you. So
Absolutely.
having good people around me,
Yeah.
that's been helping a lot.
Now, I need you to hang on to your seat because our first story, I don't know if you remember the story where Andre de Ruyter, former CEO at Eskom, did an interview with Annika Larsen on the NCA. So apparently CEO Andre de Ruyter says the dossier that he says implicates top ANC cabinet members in the looting of Eskom contains little more than wild, untested allegations compiled by a spook who was implicated in apartheid-era murders. That's according to Jacques Paul. So Andre de Ruyter decides he's going to have an off-the-books, off-the-record investigation into Eskom corruption. He asks Business Leadership SA to fund it because Intel says the Russians are behind the sabotage because Eskom must collapse for the Russians to get their nuclear deal. Now, Business Leadership SA pay former police commissioner George Fivers' company just under 18 million rand to investigate. So basically, according to Jacques Paul, de Ruyter asked his big business friends to investigate and invest millions in intelligence-driven, off-the-books investigation to expose fraud and corruption at Eskom. 15 months and about 50 million rand later produces nothing but conjuncture and rumor. Nothing was tested. It was just, oh, we hear that. So you could have actually said to them, oh, I think Minister Fresh has a deal somewhere. And
Right.
they put it in the dossier, they don't test it. And based on that, Andre de Ruyter went and did that interview.
Yeah, but it's so hard to believe old white men. They've let us down for decades. It sounds dope, but every time an old white man speaks, it's like, man.
Especially if it looks like there's a little broerskap happening here.
Exactly.
That we are from the same era.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to trust you to investigate the darkies.
Yes.
And then the other darkies must believe you.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's because for the average person on the streets, when you read a story like that, all you want to know is, when are my lights coming back on?
I just want to know when I can cook.
That's all I want to know. And I feel like all these things, like, we get carried on in these stories, it's pretty much soap operas.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when are my lights coming back?
That's all I want. Listen, guys, we just want our lights on. That's all.
That's all. It's just stop blaming. Just put our lights on, please.
Speaking of lights coming on, you won Comedian of the Year 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
In fact, we tried to get you that week, but you were out of the country at the time.
Yes.
But winning Comedian of the Year, what does that even mean?
It means-
And who decides this? Was it Andre de Ruyter on the committee? Like George Fivers on the committee? Who decides this?
Well, the old price is not the new price. Let me just say it.
Yes, we have to pay for this interview.
I'm taking this. The comedians vote.
Yeah.
So it's your colleagues that vote.
So it's like the Players Player Award.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much. There are categories where people vote in the award show, Comic Choice, but for that specific award, it's the comedians voting. And it's just cool. You know, you can do your thing, and it's nice. it's nice to have your colleagues see what you're doing.
Yes.
It's very important for the people around you to be like, okay, cool. And I don't know how it is like with DJing when you start, but for comedians, we run the gigs. So the comics are pretty much your employees. Your fellow colleagues are the ones putting you on.
They are your promoters also.
Totally.
Yes.
And that's how it works. Like if a comic likes you, we don't even laugh at each other's jokes. Like if you watch a comedian doing well on stage, you just watch it and like, oh, nice.
Nice, yeah. And you just nod.
Yeah.
Or you chuckle inside.
Yeah. It's like for the audience, they laughing and enjoying it. But I'm sure like with the DJ does a thing that that people dancing won't pick up. But you as a DJ, like, oh, that was dope.
In fact, DJs generally have their phone hidden with Shazam on. So what song is this? So why don't I have the song? Because previously when we played records, they'd like walk past the turntable just to look at the label copy. Now there's whole Shazam and hide it behind their backs, and sometimes they keep Shazam on for your entire set and then just put the phone back away.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
That's serious.
because they want to know what you're playing.
But you see, you guys can, I guess you guys can share a song and then do it. With comedy, if you hear a joke and do it, like you
It's a remix. We call it a remix. So why can't you guys call it that?
there's a comedian. There's a comedian who once shambocked another comedian on stage for doing his joke.
You are kidding.
Yeah, this was in Limpopo, obviously.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it's proper. Like, I guess our jokes are our tools. You
Yes,
take
yes,
away
yes.
from our jokes.
Yeah, why are you taking my tool of the trade?
Exactly.
And maybe that's the gag.
Yeah.
That is the gag. And now you're doing it?
It's like there's a gag that makes every comedian big. Everyone has that gag.
Yeah.
Bernie Mac was, I ain't scared of you.
What's your go-to gag that everyone says that's Robby Collins?
Flip. I guess right now on Netflix, it's the rhino joke.
Yeah, tell us about it quickly.
It's my whole point of the joke is that you should see it on Netflix. But anyway, the joke is that I don't give a damn about rhinos.
Yeah.
And when rhinos died, every white person had a rhino horn on their car.
Yes.
And like in the Cape Flats, 40 people were murdered in one weekend. I didn't see one white person with the gold tooth on their number plate. So that's the premise of the joke. It's just,
Or at least a sticker of gunshots. Like they used to have in the... Remember those stickers?
I remember those.
Every Golf 1 had that sticker of gunshots. I'm like, why would you have gunshot sticker on your car?
I don't even know why that's cool. But yeah, there's certain jokes that just to help you. It's like your first song or whatever that gets you out
sir.
there.
Yes, sir.
So if you take that away from a young comedian,
It's personal.
yeah, it's personal, definitely.
Question, you don't have to answer this. Nowadays, when you go to filling stations,
Yes.
you go to filling stations, right next to the condoms are performance tablets.
Yes.
Increasingly, every filling station has these performance tablets.
Yes.
In fact, you go to adult shops, apparently those are all the rage. A friend of mine owns an adult shop, and she's telling me that the biggest seller are performance pills, not the toys anymore.
Oh, for real?
Have you tried any of those?
I haven't. I do my squats. I do my squats. Somebody told me that squats are really good for a man and their performance in bed.
And blood flow.
And blood flow, yes.
Or is it because your legs are so stiff when they start when they start spasming, she thinks you are rocking. Can't you're spasming. Anyway, so a friend of mine owns an adult shop, and he's telling me that the biggest seller is these performance pills that are meant to make you harder for longer. You can be a stud in bed, but her biggest worry though is the biggest clientele is 20 and 30-year-olds.
Oh, wow.
It's not even 40, 50, 60 and our politicians old.
Wow.
Why are young people getting performance? I mean, surely God has given you enough testosterone to last you until you're about 40s, 50s, 60s.
Right.
And my concern is youngsters are so obsessed with like killing the pussy.
Yes.
As opposed to, let me ask her what she wants and give her what she wants.
Right.
We just think, every pussy is a nail and I'm a hammer.
Right.
And if I take this thing, then she will know who I am.
Right.
Like, why are we so obsessed with that?
I remember an older lady telling me that I think I was 21, and she's like, "You young guys don't know how to fuck."
Yeah,
It's like you guys think you do, but it's you're not pleasuring anybody.
absolutely.
But yourself. It's selfish. And I think the older you do get, the better lover you become. Mm-hmm. Because you also realize
Is that your story?
that I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting, but it's, you know what it is? I think you also realize that it's okay to ask questions.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, you just think that you need to get in
Yeah, you must just hit it.
and perform.
Yeah.
But now it's like I actually ask genuine questions. Like, what do you like? Because I don't want to waste energy with this. And then I get to that part where you like, and then I'm like, oh, you know, when your penis says it's done, it's done. You can't resurrect that boy.
Dude, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do.
It don't matter how hot the person is.
Dude, when he's done, you're saying, no, dude, we don't want you to. He's like, dog, not now, dog. I'm busy right now, dog. One of the big stories this week is India's population this week will surpass China's population. So India about to be the most populous country in the world this week already.
Are they counting Durban Indians or just Indian India?
No, in India.
Okay.
No. Yeah, the Durban Indians is a separate.
Right.
Exactly. And I was thinking, because India is the home of Kamagra. Kamagra is a gel and a tablet that you can take to help you perform.
Is it?
And I'm thinking maybe that's why the Chinese have no chance against India, because Indians have Kamagra. So they're always ready. They will always perform.
Damn.
No?
It could be that. It could be that, but I also feel like in India, they're probably just having sex like naturally
As opposed to?
with all those other things. I feel like those things are Western.
Also, they're making for us.
Yes, I think those things are made for us and shipped immediately. Those things are shipped to like California.
Help them catch up with us. Help them catch up with us.
I feel like once I take something to perform in the bedroom, I feel like that's a clear indication that I'm getting older.
Yes.
I feel like the day I take that is the day I'll go, okay, cool.
But the day you're conceding,
Yes, you can't
I
see.
can't do this anymore.
It's like when somebody goes bald eventually and they just go, fuck it, I'm going to shave the whole thing. This is me. Accept me for who I am.
You know the weird thing? I went bald, like totally bald, about 15, 16 years ago. So people have known me as a baldy. So when I started growing my hair,
I remember.
they started asking, so what are you using? What are you using? It works. I'm like, I've used nothing. I just didn't go to the barber anymore.
Yeah, you got a fresh hairline. Your hairline is still in its 20s.
I get it from my dad. My dad has a full head of hair.
See, my dad started balding young. My grandfather died with a full head of hair.
Jeez, he took all of your hair.
Dude, I'm hoping that I'm hoping. Yeah, you got a fresh hairline.
No, hell yeah.
No, that's proper.
Shut up, Pops.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I will be.
I think it's as a man especially, because I feel like ladies have these conversations more out in the open.
Yeah.
With men, we kind of struggling with things.
We struggle quietly or for no reason in the corners, and if I need your advice, I'll call you to the side. It's like, yo, man, what are you using on your head?
Yes, it's so weird that we don't. I think maybe the new generations change, but I think for a lot of us, like even sex. Did you have the sex talk
With whom?
with your folks?
My folks never once sat me down to talk about sex, but what they did though, they bought books on anatomy change and strategically left them in the house. So, I'd like open a drawer to get a spoon and there's a book there about your body change.
Why is there condoms in the Tupperware?
So that's what my folks did. Those just strategically positioned books on your body's changing, what it means. But they even got them for girls. Like, why are they telling me about a girl's body?
See, I never had that conversation. I had Friday night, Saturday nights, ETV, Emmanuel.
Flip.
That's where I kind of saw sex for the first time.
So it was you, ETV, Emmanuel, and Nivea in a bottle.
Yeah, the first few times I didn't even please myself. I was just surprised that I'm seeing titties. But the worst part is if you fall asleep and miss the porn and then you wake up and there's gospel on, then you're like, shit.
And then you feel guilty. It's like, why do I have a boner and there's gospel on?
and Nigerian preachers give me Jesus loves me. Like, fuck.
So the other day went and watched The Honeymoon.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see you in The Honeymoon. I was like, flip, Robby's doing movies now.
Oh yeah, that was cool. It was a day of shooting, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go and see it probably
Hold on. You're in one of the hottest movies in the country right now and you haven't seen it yet.
I've never watched myself do stand-up. I've never seen myself act. I've never watched anything. For me, it's like the audience tells me exactly what happened.
Oh, yes.
I don't need to watch myself.
Do you ever worry when you know you've had a killer show, but there's certain gags that nobody ever mentions to say, oh, that was hot?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's even when the show goes well, you walk off stage going, damn, I could have done something better.
Yes.
It's almost that thing of like, oh, if they love that, if I remember that line, I could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I just can't watch myself, dude. I feel like for me personally, I just end up hating too many things.
Oh, yes,
like I'm like, why is my foot like that? Why am I moving?
Your foot is like that because of your funny toes, dude.
It's too much. And with movies, I'm just like, I believe the director. The director said they're happy.
Yeah. Like, why do I need to go back and second guess them?
Yeah. Like, and the movie's doing well. It's great. Got it there and see it. Yeah.
In fact, speaking of why is my foot like that, you often talk about your toes.
I talk about ladies' toes.
Not about your toes.
No. It's pretty judgmental because I don't have the prettiest toes. But
That's the point I'm making.
Because I used to have this thing back in the day where I used to look at ladies' feet.
Yeah.
Ladies' toes was a huge thing. And then I think I got older and I was like, if I'm going to have these high standards, I'm never going to find a wife. So let me just accept people for who they are.
Yeah.
But toes was a huge thing. I think toes and hands let you know how other parts are kept.
But I thought you're born with your toes like that. It's not like you can turn your toes into this pretty little thing all of a sudden.
Oh, no, not the shape of toes. I'm saying how toes are kept.
Oh, how you keep them, or the maintenance.
The maintenance.
If you don't have time for toes, you won't have time for anything else, is what you're saying.
Because that's the thing that they see. So if you can't look after the thing that we see.
Or of the thing that you don't see either.
Exactly.
It's him, ladies. It's not me. I love you just the way you are. Anyway, this movie segment is brought to you in collaboration with Stir Kiniko Action Weekend. Stir Kiniko are the first to release the biggest action blockbusters of the world to Mzansi. On this section of WAW, we are going to be showcasing to you the hottest action releases. Let's go. First to go is Catch a Killer. To Catch a Killer is an action crime drama thriller. Someone is spreading terror in Baltimore, and the FBI's lead investigator, Jeffrey Landmark, enlists the help of a local policewoman, Eleanor Falco. Falco is played by... How's my voice doing? Am I doing it right?
Sexy.
Falco is played by Shailene Woodley, who you may know from the Divergent series, The Fault in Our Stars, and the TV series Big Little Lies. And Landmark is played by Ben Mendelsohn, who appeared in Star Wars Rogue One and as Talos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here they team up to try and stop a serial killer. And as with movies like this, the main character has a troubled past, which might have come in handy as they try and prevent more deaths. It's rated R for really one you must watch this coming weekend. Here's the trailer.
Olympic-class marksman running wild. Every shot found its mark. No casings, no brass, not a single fingerprint.
Start recording. It's every face on video. Put them on your phone.
He didn't come here to die, and he does not want to be found. We're gonna disappoint him.
These people, they're just born plain evil.
Evil is cutting off a bird's wing just to see what happens. This guy is swatting mosquitoes.
Why'd you say that thing about mosquitoes?
I don't think he's looking for destruction. I think he's looking for relief.
What's your name?
Eleanor Falco, sir.
You staying? I'd have to ask for your transfer.
I'd be working for the Bureau.
You were rejected by the Bureau. It was your psych eval that did you in. Aggressive, addictive, antisocial. This is the profile of people we arrest, not hire. I think you got talent. I need you to use it as fuel to bring me something new. Now. This guy's on a spiral of destruction. I expect you to slide down after him. Different genders, different races,
There's no pattern.
Somebody trained him. Somebody loved him. Somebody sold him that gun. We find them. We find our guy. I can think of 2 reasons why you might be getting a good read on him. FBI! Drop your weapon! Why do I have to play by your rules?
They brought me in because they thought I'd understand you.
You're making any progress?
Well, I'm here.
Isn't that the most amount of dead bodies you've seen in a trailer?
It's a lot. You know, excuse me, you know what we used to do when we were young? Because I have 5 siblings.
Yeah.
So my mom you couldn't go and see every movie that came out.
Jeez, there's a ton of you.
Yeah.
That's like half a row of seats gone.
But my thing is, we'd never have money to go and watch the movie, so we'd just watch the trailers on TV and then go to school and speak like we watched it.
Like you watched it.
So if I had to go to school, I'd be like, yo, did you see the part with the bodies in the morgue? And you were like, yo. And then you just let people carry on talking about the movie. Like, cool.
Which trailer whose movie you actually did watch was actually more entertaining than the movie?
Shucks.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't know. There's a few of those have happened.
And don't you hate it when that happens, though? That the trailer was actually more entertaining.
But there is something nice. Like, I loved ETV movies on a Friday, Saturday, like those 8 p.m. movies where the story is just horrible.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's also joy in watching a really crappy movie.
Also because you have ad breaks to remind yourself that you don't have to actually do this. As you walk into the kitchen to make something to eat during the ad break, you're like, I don't really need to go back in.
No, dude. I was speaking to my nephew. He's 15 years old, and he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this generation don't understand the patience to wait a whole week to find out what happened.
What happens next? Absolutely.
Like, that's not in us anymore.
Now, a lot of our action movie figures are getting old.
Yes.
Who's disappointing you in terms of that? I can't believe Arnold is this old now. I can't believe Sylvester Stallone is this old now.
I love Stallone. Rocky, I'm telling you, every time I have a big show coming up and I have to get ready for it and I have to get into the clubs, I watch Rocky 1.
Yeah.
Rocky 1 is like the most inspirational movie for me. And it's whenever something's happening in my life, that's my go-to movie. So Stallone, I still dig him because he's still working. Like, Arnold went into politics.
Yeah.
I feel like...
Still working the roids also.
Yeah.
And the growth hormone. Isn't that why he was arrested in Australia?
Is it?
Yeah, I think he had like those pens for GH.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong.
Yeah, but I feel like Nicolas Cage is...
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage just says yes to everything. I don't even feel like he reads the full script.
But do you know why Nicolas Cage does that, though?
It's the tax problem.
No, because his face has been the same on every character he's played for the last 30 years. Right. So he doesn't have to say no.
Right.
Because they could actually use Nicolas Cage's face from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and it will still work.
Snap.
It doesn't make an effort.
That's very true.
I think it's a genius. If you don't try too hard, you can continue just swinging it.
You're right.
For the rest of your career.
I feel, well, look, I'm disappointed. Not disappointed, but I don't see the reason for Bad Boys 4. I thought Bad Boys 3 was enough. They're filming Bad Boys 4. Martin looks like he doesn't want to be anywhere. Martin looks like he's done. Like, he looks upset in every scene. I feel like they're writing his character around a grumpy person.
Yes, in fact, he looks like he feels he didn't need the money. That's fine. Like, if I didn't need the money, I wouldn't be doing this.
No, but like, I don't understand why. They're apparently going to do another Martin series.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
I have no idea. I think the show's at a great level where they left it. They don't.
Why would they want to do that?
I don't know.
It's at a great level where they left it, and also it was funny for then. Yes. I can't watch it right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was funny then. Like, yes. It's like seeing Kit from Knight Rider, and like Kit was dope in 1985 when I was 12 years old.
Right. A car talking like.
Why is there Kit now?
Yes.
Like, why am I seeing the same Kit now? It's not the same anymore.
Everyone has a Kit. It's called Siri. we don't need Knight Rider anymore.
Anyway, To Catch a Killer is available now on Stir Kinnickor screens. Book your ticket right now from this very show. Check out the descriptions below on the show for a direct link to booking your tickets right now. Book your ticket through Stir Kinnickor, check out the movie, and then tell us what you thought of it. Brought to you exclusively by Stir Kinnickor. Let me tell you what feels amazing right now. This is our first ever sponsor on our podcast.
Oh, for real?
Ever.
Congrats.
So I can finally pay one of the guys. Say like I'm paying everyone here.
Who looks like they're working the hardest.
So guys, I'm watching you. Whoever's drinking coffee, you're too relaxed. You're not getting paid from here. Eh? So yeah, man, it's actually a great feeling.
Now, I can imagine. There's nothing better when you get paid. I started in Durban. So if you did comedy in Durban in the late 2000s,
Yeah.
you kind of just work for self-esteem.
Oh yes,
It was,
yes.
it was like, okay, cool, I'm doing this thing. But I remember my first trip up to Johannesburg. I
Yeah.
performed at the Blues Room.
Yes.
Remember the Blues Room?
I remember the Blues Room, yeah.
And David Kabuka performed 5 minutes and he gave me a handshake. I don't know if you do this in the DJ world where they shake your hand with money.
Oh yes, it's like a tip almost.
Yeah, so he shook my hand and I remember just feeling this money and I looked down and I saw blue notes. I ran to the toilet, locked the door, I just started counting. He gave me 600 rand.
Oh wow.
Dude, I went back to the bar. I was drinking Black Label the whole night. I went to the bar and I was like, can I get that bottle? I changed my drink immediately. It's like, that bottle there.
So you blew your pay on the day of the pay.
Oh, yeah. I think I woke up with maybe 50 rand.
Jeez.
It's one of those things where it's like, nobody teaches us financial education.
Nope.
That's one thing. And they teach you how to deal with it. But you need to blow those first couple paychecks to make you go, okay, money goes like this.
You need to be reckless in order to fully appreciate your own hard work.
100%. You need to party. Like, have you ever partied so much where the bank calls you the next day to make sure it was you?
Those transactions are
It's
yours.
like, hey, Mr. Collins, were you really at a Shell at 5 a.m.?
It happened to me in Thailand. We were shooting Tropic Island of Treasure 2010. And we got into this club and I was like, drinks on me. And there was like a crew of about 20. I remember my banker called me the next day. Is like, is this transaction yours? I was like, yes. She's like, are you okay? She was like, blink 5 times if you're not okay.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Like sometimes you just like, okay, we're making a memory tonight.
Absolutely. Our final story. One of the big anticipations this week was that Joe Biden, US president, would announce that he's not running for another term.
Right.
Joe Biden says he needs to rescue the world and America from the right-wing racist Republicans, so he's running again. By the time he's done with his term, he'll officially be the oldest president ever in the history of the US. Already, Joe Biden is struggling. He's falling and tripping. He's doing old folk stuff.
Yeah.
He falls, he trips, he mumbles.
Yes.
Or should he be running again?
It will be detrimental for the Democratic Party
If he doesn't run.
if he runs. Because I think youngsters will probably not vote. Young liberals wouldn't go out and vote. I think they'd actually stay at home.
But if they don't vote for him, what are they going to vote for? And they're not going to vote for Kamala Harris.
No.
She's a woman and she's black. So she stands zero chance.
Yeah.
Not in that country.
Yeah, also I feel like I think between Biden and Kamala, I think they let down the Democrats recently. I know it's a black woman, but she, like the first thing she said in the first week was cops aren't racist.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo.
Really?
Okay, thank you. But it's a tough one. Look, if that guy runs and Kanye runs, I think Kanye will get more votes this time.
I think Trump will get more votes at the rate things are going. If he gets to run, if he's not thrown in jail before.
Yeah. Look, America, I don't want to say anything bad about America.
Oh, yeah, because
I've got to work
this week.
I love America.
I love blueberry pie.
It's crazy, you know. I realized that we in South Africa, going up and down to New York, we don't have fear of our cops.
Yes.
The way we speak to cops, there isn't a fear. Like, you know what I mean? In America, those guys all look like they're ready for something.
No, like you will see cuck, basically.
Yes.
They look like you will see cuck.
And they all look fit. Like, our guys are like, okay, I think I can out-jog you.
I can outrun at least one of you.
Yeah. But in America, I wouldn't take that chance. So there is the look. America's beautiful, and we know that from the entertainment side.
He's going to America this week. That's why he's watching his atta.
They've got a lot of things they need to improve on the other side, because we beat them with quite a few of our laws.
Yeah.
We do. Our abortion laws, we kill them with that.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to say something nice. I don't know. But yes, I look forward to going to America.
You're off to New York this week. What's happening in New York?
Doing shows.
Yeah.
I'm doing shows out there, and I've been going back and forth. It's cool. You know, New York, you do 8 shows in a night.
Jeez.
Like
That's like PH on the night in Joburg doing gigs.
PH. I look at his posters like, where are you? And what transportation are you using?
Exactly.
So it's cool, you know, because also you can work material that way.
Oh, yes, yes.
8 shows in a night, you do a joke for the first time at 6 p.m. By midnight. That joke
You've refined it. It's
polished. So it's just being out there working on. My brother stays there, so I get to see my niece and nephew.
Oh, so you're going home, basically. You're visiting family.
It's home, but the currency will humble you, dog.
That's why you live with your brother.
Yeah, no matter how well you're doing in South Africa.
Yeah. The US will remind you that you're a boy. Yeah, just a boy.
That's funny for so many reasons. No, it'll humble you quickly, dude. Quickly. It's real.
Robby, anything else you're working on before we let you go?
Well, new special.
Yeah.
New special. Last year my Netflix came out, and then this year we cooking.
When do we see the new special?
Well, the goal is by the end of this year.
Oh, yes.
And then it's Trevor's tour of South Africa.
Oh, are you...
I'll be in.
Are you all going Goliath on us?
Yeah, I'm gonna be working. I'm working.
So you're touring with Trevor?
I'll be I'll be around with him. Yeah.
Don't be around with him, I mean. Just say what it is. What is it?
Yeah. It's.
Are you on stage or not?
Yeah. I'll be on stage.
Yeah?
I'll be on stage.
And how does it feel though, being part of a show that most of us can't afford?
This thing's in August, fresh. I'm not gonna ruin it. Save your money, guys. Buy tickets. I don't know. I guess it's
If you're poor, you're poor, basically. Yeah?
You know, working with Trevor's been such a blessing, but it's so funny because people always feel like they tell me things to tell Trevor.
You're kidding.
Because like South Africans have this thing of feeling like they're part of your success.
And your circle.
And your circle.
Yes.
And there's this, like whenever I'm in the street, they tell me like, tell Trevor, he mustn't forget us. Who the fuck are you? Tell Trevor, he mustn't change. What must... Now I must get on WhatsApp and tell Trevor, there's Auntie Newtown said, don't change. Or it's that other thing of like, I'm sure you get it, I booked your first gig.
Yes. Yeah.
I think people just love being part of the story.
Don't forget me, eh?
Yeah, don't forget.
I booked your first gig.
I booked your first gig.
Like they tell you not to change. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Collins is about to leave the building. In fact, he's off to New York. He's got a new special coming out end of the year. He's going to be touring with Trevor Noah. If you have any messages for him to tell Trevor, please just type them out in the comments at the bottom. Type them in the comments at the bottom, and he'll make sure that Trevor gets your messages. But yeah, shout out to you, Robby. Dude, like I said, I've been watching your journey, and you just...
Thank you.
You're hitting every ball out the park, dude. Every ball is a 6 right now.
Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the support, man. It's dope. It's one thing to do it, but I remember watching you on TV as a kid, and to sit here and talk to you.
I was wearing this very jacket on TV when you watched me as a kid.
How long have you had that for?
I got this from Fubu in Sandton in 1999.
Damn.
Yes, sir. And yeah, still here. It's hot though. It's hot like it's cheese.
No, you can see that's proper like leather, man.
No, it's proper. It smells like it smelled 24 years ago. Still smells the same.
If you put that online, I think you'd get crazy money for it.
Why would I put it online?
Yeah, you got kids.
In fact, my daughter, 14, she's wearing all my baggy jeans from 25 years ago.
She's probably eyeing this.
No. 1D, no.
Is she tall?
She would be very tall, yes.
Okay.
Why, do you have a tall son? No, thanks.
I don't know. I got no kids. My pull-out game was dope.
So you're like us, you pull out of the ICC, you're like, no, I want to go back in again. Ladies and gentlemen, Robby Collins, remember the name.
This is
What a week.
What a Week. Celebrity Guest.
Celebrity guest.
Not only are we hanging out with a celebrity, we're hanging out with a celebrity poet. So I'm going to try and impress him. Roses are red. Well, not just red, but the color of blood dripping down a fridge during load shedding. Okay. Maybe my poetry needs a bit of work, right? But someone whose compositions are much better is our next guest. Renowned award-winning poet and writer, Mak Manaka, popularly known as Mac.
Hola.
We're in the middle of a Mac attack, guys.
Ijwalo, make no mistake. I've been making mess, make the knife, get a high makanya, get an aquasa
Mac, but not Makatini.
No, please, board. You can say twice.
Karasa Marahakitini.
Come on, I mean, it's a nice line. I mean, you know, the blood drips during load shedding. I mean, hey, boy, it's actually a proper line. We can give a tick on that line.
In fact, I will gladly give you that line. You can use it one day.
Yeah, please, thank you very much. I mean, we share stuff, you know. I mean, as writers, we learn from each other. I don't subscribe to this thing, you must steal from other writers. No.
Be inspired.
Exactly, thank you. That's the good word. Be inspired. I mean, we are all inspired. I'm inspired as it is already.
Mak Manaka.
On our ops.
Mak Manaka 101, bruh. Tell us about you in 30 seconds.
Jesus, ke nna makumela ka ka fa phokotse mphatlala le khotlo le shipela boshigong o shegare ke tshaba le ke nna mana ka mokono shi dikgolo mena kopana mena ka wa ina tlhantla khane wa topena huma le ka dinala. Yeah, ke yona 101 it re kala da.
So can you summarize that into English in 30 seconds?
No, what? I mean, we celebrate maleme a rona, we celebrate rona, we celebrate what we are, right? And if anything, this is what one is on about more than anything else, to try and find ways of how to articulate one's own fragility and one's own, sensitivity more than anything, and be honest with oneself.
Yes.
You know, I mean, how do you say, oh river inside the sand, please take me to the mountain. Yes. How do you say that, right? Or like, I am sorry, my lunar love, my love will not come to your lunacy anymore. How do you say that kasiburu or Setswana, right? So this is where it's at, man.
Would you say in the frenzy of colonialism, in the frenzy of treating English as some badge that you wear with honor, we almost forgot our tongues, our languages in poetry?
Well, now the thing is that this is systematic, if anything, right? For language to evolve, it needs to be given the chance for itself to evolve.
Sure.
And to think and dream in that language, ultimately. And this happens a lot of the times in our education. So, it's not that we have forgotten, we have been made to forget. So it's a systematic kind of an imposition. This, when we talk about coloniality, this is what colonization looks like.
Yes.
In that Setswana has stopped at some particular moment, right, in time. Most of our languages, except for English and Afrikaans, and when you
they thrive on. Yeah.
You know, it's a system of colonization, if anything, in that our languages are not given the opportunity to thrive and evolve, in that we're able to teach mathematics, for instance. And it's not that we don't have these terms, it's simply because it was not given the opportunity to move further.
Yes.
Because if you do, then you are not part of this colonial system. I mean, it's citizen and subject.
Like, why are you taking your language back?
Yeah.
When we've ripped it untimely from...
Yes. We have stripped you away from it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the
in fact, we've made it almost a shame.
Man, it's Jonathan, and that language of authority,
Yeah.
and a measure of intelligence. And I can't think of my country.
I remember in primary school, because I went to a mixed primary school, from grade 1. And, I hung out with a bunch of my boys. So I was friends with everyone, white kids, black kids, Indian kids. But whenever I was with my black kids, we'd speak Setswana.
Sure.
But I remember in grade 2, us being told only speak English. And I remember going home and saying to my parents, I don't understand.
Sure.
Why can we not speak our own language when we are together? And also, what are they scared we might be saying behind their backs that they're not willing to learn our language? Like, why are they not willing to learn our... And I'm asking these questions. I know I'm sounding like Nota. I'm asking those questions and I'm in grade 2 that I don't understand.
Look, we've been asking these questions, if anything, right? I mean, the question of language has been there since during my father's time and before my father's time as well. I mean, with the 70s, the 60s, this has been there, right? In that, we speak in a language of addressing situation. I mean, I remember in the
to make them comfortable.
In the 80s, man, there used to be a center. I come from an art center.
Sure.
I'm a child of
which art center?
Funda Art Center.
Yes,
right. Goes on 60 Kloof. That's where I come from. Shout out to my people that goes on 60.
A lot of industry people have Funda Center to thank.
Yeah, no, I'm a child of Funda Center. I mean, I was born there. If anything, and my father was like, my parents were like, no, what's about Saturday Saturday school. So I remember this one time we used to go on trips, on art trips, and we look at the Chobek Art Gallery, right? And so I didn't. I mean, I'm what? I think I was 5 or 6 at the time. So this one white boy, this white boy, and on the corner of a window, right?
Yes.
I started bleeding, and I was so shocked to see that his blood looks just like mine. Or his blood is red, and that stuck with me until today, because I asked myself at the time, why are we treated so differently to these people, especially when our blood is the same? And I mean, I have to quote Shakespeare here. I mean, look, when you talk poetry, everybody goes on Shakespeare. If you prick me, do I not bleed?
Post Shakespeare in Sibiti.
Yeah, man, they have done Shakespeare Kasipedi.
Yes.
Yeah, they have done Caesar Kasipedi, right? I mean, so that thought stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was checking out the lectures and Dr. Lwazi Lushaba and Hathalosa, the decoloniality, and also at the same time to the Mangani's thought process when it comes to subject and citizen and subject. In that where language is concerned, you find that and by design, and when we look at our languages, we start thinking, no, language and it's not because we are forgetting our languages, it's simply because we've been made to forget our languages. And we are reclaiming, and the language, what's up, let's to know the movement of the land is to know your language. To know your language is to know the movement of the land, if anything.
They're linked.
Very much.
And our languages are as fluid and as flexible as Mandarin or German or Japanese. Their kids are taught in their languages and are thriving. And if they need a translator, they'll get a translator. But Rona is beaten into us.
And they normally do get a translator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Rona is beaten into us that you'll speak only this language.
Look at they still do it in schools, by the way, in that my brother's daughter.
Yeah.
And this is where this whole project comes from. If to be honest, man, like this letter hearing, your daughter is very smart and she's very intelligent, but she needs to speak English more. You guys need to speak English with your daughter at home. And I keep man. Why? So Jano, I can't go there. I mean, I can't tell my I want to get
Yeah, you don't want to go there and be the native that caused the trouble.
Yeah, and be that guy. I want
like the natives are restless.
Yeah, the clever black. No. But either way, whether it's a clever black or not, it doesn't. It I could care less. For me, what's important is that statement. Sa gore tshwantse re buele bana ba rona ka sengabla. Nkile utlwa le goa le bua le ngwana wa lona ka Sesotho or ka Sezulu. A mo khalema. Kana kwe nkile bona. I mean, in some certain parts of Eastern Cape, right, where you find what's up, my brother. I remember when I was there for a year. I was doing my master's at this school known as Rhodes. You know, I mean, if I die, I'm gonna go kill that man again. Rhodes is terrible, man.
And tell him his railroad never reached Cairo.
Yeah, no, please. We must tell him that, you know. You know, I mean, one of my lectures was saying mosadi wa gagwe tsebe wa Xhosa and yena o monolingual. Right? And I'm thinking, monolingual? How are you monolingual, my brother? So the expectation of in South Africa weighs heavy on many of us. And most of our text is in this language, right? And it's not like a khona moto otlo khona go ibala, but being able to who are well versed. I mean, can you imagine, my brother, having Ntate Wally Serote's poem "Time Has Run Out" ka Xhosa, and to be taught like Xhosa as well, but not in varsity, but in high school, starting from the lower part of education, because Ken Temba, for me, Tate Ken Temba needs to be taught from primary level, because
in your language,
you can't relate to some of the stuff that these people are teaching you. I don't know for you know, for a child in high school who loves poetry, who gets bombarded, keep John Milton, keep John Donne, and then you're like, wait a minute, man, because they cannot relate to muto oetsa jwang. Mara o bua ka text o relating le yona, it becomes easier.
In fact, that's why we have you here for this week on WAW, What a Week. You know, we're here to talk about Flowers of a Broken Smile. What on earth is that, and why is it a big week for flowers this week?
Machuba so Flowers of Broken Smile has been is a collection of mine. That
from when?
From 2016.
Okay.
From 2016. Yeah, this is where I flex, my brother. This is where I'm saying, okay, I want to show my supervisors, Rampuluking and Perot go in a poske.
Yes.
This is what I've learned from you guys, you know, and from a technical perspective, this is what I did, and my poems are long, and this is a book this is a collection in my life, in my career, in where everything gets shortened down. You know, I mean, there's a lot I want to say, but how can I say a lot in 5 lines?
Sure.
So Flowers of Broken Smile does that, and it deals with complex issues and different facets of love.
Like what? Like for instance, you are in a relationship.
Like in a relationship, for instance, with your woman.
From Flowers, what would you recite to your woman?
Well, where have the rivers from the mountain gone? Where are the love letters from the sky? My feet yearn to drink the wine of days I've never lived. Where are the women? No men, just women, 'cause men do not men no more, and so I want to woman and no blood.
Why is it important for us to be able to woman as men?
Well, look, because we are both born with we have the capacity of this feminine energy.
But for some reason, we detest it.
Right?
We
for
think
some
it
reason,
makes us
we are
weak.
made to think that being to woman is something that is out of you. It's a weakness,
yes.
And yet it is not. If anything, men and women are both born with men and women inside of them. I mean, it takes two of these sexes to make a society. It takes two men and women to make a society. If anything, when sevens clash, when sevens clash, Babylon come crash. Why I mean, Babylon ya
and there's a reason why when the sevens come together also looks like a uterus.
Why born and treasure?
Birth happens.
Why born and treasure? Sure. And then I can over goes like this. And we are here. We are right here.
Yes.
Why born and treasure?
Fertilization happens right in here.
Right here, my brother.
Growth. I should be a poet.
Relate to the mother.
I should be a poet.
Born. We all have a poet in each and every one of us. I mean, how can you live in South Africa and not have a poet inside of you? Because then you might as well be ignorant, if anything.
So why is this week a big week for flowers? You've translated it into 3 languages so far. Why have you gone with Xhosa, Afrikaans,
and Afrikaans?
Yes.
Well, the reason for that, my brother, is that it's a template. How will it work out, right?
Yeah.
In that...
but was the translations translating, though?
Yeah, look. It took poets. I had to get poets to translate poetry. This is not an easy task.
So it's a whole project.
It's a whole process.
Yes.
Right, and it's a whole project. So and also it was a launch of my company, the publications company. And this is the one part that I have to flex a particular skill that I am not aware of, a muscle that I have not trained, and I'm learning how to train it. And ultimately looking for investments and investors to actually invest in the project, in that we need to roll out other languages of this book. So this book is more of a template. It's a design for, okay, this is how the translation process works. 2 months of translation with the poets who are well versed in the language.
So who did you work with?
I worked with Datenape, the legendary Datenape, yes, definitely. And Kifo Sesotho sa Leboa, by the way, not just Sepedi fela. We went to Sesotho sa Leboa in that khona le sa matlala, khona le sa baleji,
That's actually what is most fascinating about Sepedi, Sesotho, and Limpopo in particular. That you think people just speak Sepedi, we're done.
No.
But there are so many dialects.
Yeah, right. There are so many languages. These are nations. These are nations. There are so many people who speak similarly. No, we can't be English. We can't
just speak Sepedi.
Yeah, no. We can't. We have to remove the European in our heads, if anything, right? And so I went with Pili, Ayanda Pili for Isthosa, and I went with Pete Odendal for Afrikaans, and I mean, my brother, whatever, I went into this coming from years ago. I remember we had done translation project on my poems into Italian with another poet, and I thought, one day maybe. So this idea has been at the back of my head for years, and I've been cultivating and growing it, and
why Italian back then?
Because it was coming from. I was going into Italy at the time, right? And they were Europe, let us. So you do the poem in English, and then what is like I translate.
Yes.
And I'm like. So, I translate. Because this is the one part that was not the part of the book and part of the whole thing. Because this thing of translator in Yambora. But anyway, so this idea comes from 2008. This is around 2008, 2007.
So it's a lifelong project.
Yeah, it's a lifelong project. For me, it's a lifelong attempt, if anything, in that I want to translate, not just, I'm starting with my books. So this is a guinea pig, if anything, to get. So the three languages are a template. So it's poets translating the poetry, and then there's a linguistic assurance process in that you get linguists who will suggest with the poets. So they work closely with the poets, if anything, And then there are one-on-one sessions where I have with the poets where I have to clarify certain lines and certain nuances where one has to think outside of himself as the one who wrote the poems. So you can imagine, when it comes to other poems that collections that I want to get into, like for instance, Sounds of a Cowhide Drum. I mean, my brother, that needs to be known from primary school, or Don Matera, or Ingwapele Madingwane, Africa My Beginning, Africa My Ending, needs to be known from primary school. By the time you hit high school, So now how do we do this? How do we think of the word in our languages? Why? Because poetry stretches language.
What dragged you towards the word? How old were you?
I was around 8, actually, from home, from Kochai. My parents. So I coming from a space of art. It's just because you are a son of a priest doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a priest.
Sure.
So the most fun times and a little bit very destructive somehow, because they were these are all writers.
Yes.
And
so it's a family of writers, but they're also drinking.
No, look.
Yeah.
No. My father was chilling with them cats, man. Right? And right? And it's not, it's not even a matter of drinking to get drunk. It's a matter of drinking to actually be within the word.
Into the zone.
And work it out.
Yes.
Right? So so they were talking about, they were reminiscing about Ingwapele Madingwane's Malami Ingwapele's Africa My Beginning. But no, we live it. And he's trying to explain, no, right? And this conversation that, I mean, I was around 8 at the time. And I remember, so the energy and the love that these guys used to have over this one poem.
But also, so you look up to them.
I look up to them. I mean, they're my father's friends.
So there's no way that passion can't just come into you. There's no way.
No, and I'd be there listening. So, and I didn't know what that meant at the time. You know, I mean, to a point that there's some pizza more Africa. You know, I mean, it was sad when he passed on.
How much of Africa My Beginning do you know off the top?
I used to know it. They came from the east and settled in the west. No. Asanya, here I come in tatters. Oh, Niki Hopola, but unatapa nini? They asked Mugabe, unataka nini apa? So, I mean, the thing is that the energy in the room when they spoke about Africa My Beginning would change completely. And every time I'd ask them, please, you know, and you know. So this is where the thing sort of now is in me. By the time after my accident, when I was in hospital, this is where I got hurt and my spinal cord breaks.
How old are you?
I was 12 years old at the time.
So 12 years old, tragic accident way.
Go on 6.
Okay.
Go high.
And your spine snaps.
My spine snaps into parts, right? And they have to reconnect it with rods. So it's a bit of a difficult situation when I walk into an airport. So they have to actually check everything.
Yes. You're a man of steel.
Look, I'm a man of steel. Make
Yes,
no
sir.
mistake.
Oh, Superman.
Yata.
Oh, Superman.
Yata.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I guy that guy when I get
In fact, what book is this?
Yeah, that is my latest book. Right, that's the book that is on the onlines. That's the book that I actually. So look, man, I got all my rights for my books. So I went and bought all my rights back.
Where were they before you bought them?
They were with the publishers. They were with the publishers, and I decided for a name, man. What's up again? Let me do this. Because I have an idea of how I want these books to move. I have an idea of how I want these things to work.
So what are you reading for us right now?
This is a love poem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a love poem. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's pal. So no, it breaks in 2 parts, my spinal cord, like I was saying, right? Yes. And when you have a physical disability as a black person, it's almost as in a black community, it's almost as if
Oh yes. There's always
this and the one
justification.
Man, I've had people like pray on to me, and I'm like, hey, pause it. Anyway, so there's always.
Have you ever been to a church where someone says they will make you walk?
Man, how many times, you know, to a point I'm like, the word will make me walk. And here is the word making me walk, if anything. I've seen the world because of the word.
Sure.
And at that point, after my accident, this is when the literature becomes, writing more than anything else, becomes more of my friend, because I was frustrated at the time because of such mentalities, you know, in terms of how it
must be witchcraft, or you are written off. Or at the beginning of the day, you're put on a wheelbarrow, taken to a tree, and you're left there for the whole day. Like zero mental stimulation, zero care, zero attention. How did you survive all of that?
Literature.
Yeah.
Poetry actually was my friend. Poetry literally saved my life.
Jeez.
And when I was writing from a point of praying. Right? For me, they were not poems. They were more like...
it was an outlet.
Yeah, it was an outlet at the time, because now I'm frustrated. I come to know respect as a thing of not talking back. Right? And this is how I get to talk back. And poetry has always been like that for me, you know?
Okay, so you've been paralyzed since you're 12.
Yeah.
You've been using crutches.
I was on a wheelchair at first.
Okay.
And the doctors were like, this boy will never walk again. And my mother says, don't worry, my son will defy science.
Sure.
And defy science we did, definitely, for sure.
So now you walk with sticks. But you've also got the confidence of 10 men. How did you get here? Because for a lot of people, your self-esteem will take a knock. And you might even not want to appear in public.
Definitely.
You might believe I'm less than other men or less than other human beings because of that. But you walk into any room and you hold your own. Where does that come from?
Well, look, first and foremost, my family structure, the family support is of utmost importance when it comes to maintenance of that confidence more than anything else, and also at the same time too, it's how you think about yourself.
That is so important.
Yeah, how you think about yourself more than anything else.
And often that will directly reflect what other people think of you.
Yeah, to a certain extent, to a large extent, that's exactly what happens, and so at the time, I don't know these things, and they come naturally.
You're just living.
Yeah, my mother says to me, don't think about it like this. Next year, we'll be laughing at all of this next year. And we used to have the saying PMA, and we still do. We still carry it in our hearts. We still carry it in our heads. It's a positive mental attitude.
Oh, yes.
So when you are positive, when you talk positive, when you behave positive, when you think positive, you become positive.
Okay.
How can you not be positive when all of you is positive? So it's that Deka thing. Yeah, I think, therefore I am.
Yes.
Right. So I am positive, and I feel it. But it's a process. This thing. It's a. You have to work on it every day. No, my brother. Only happy every day.
You water a plant every day to keep it alive. You must water yourself.
Beautiful analogy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful analogy, because water metsi ke matla.
Yes.
Wa bona ntho jwa. Yeah, metsi ke bophelo 99. I mean khona le pleke tse dingwe go batho wa na metsi go teng. Na gana kwa amaskana bana le metsi le fana.
To this day.
To this day I bona le metsi.
And if there's water, it's orange.
Wa bona phela, I mean bona kenyana kwa amaskana ma brother, so abana metsi kwa ne phela ka phela e rotha madi ga.
So getting married to Amaskral, what was your lobola? Water.
Bona isa le petsi le power.
I will give her clean water.
Come on. And it's that truck.
I will serenade her with poetry every day, and she'll have clean water.
Look. This is what gets me there, right?
Okay.
Badimo ba nkutluile. Watle wa male ba khomele maphatsi mo kalo leme kere badimo ba nkutluile. Mase ya makopa o nthetse nnete ke seretse botshelo ke semphego o se fele pelo fa botshelo bo gata ditoro ke tsoga ke sna matla mafoko mo shibudi mo rata le rato ntshepe ke tshipi ya thaba mo latela se gametse le gotlo la barolong mo ja tlhapile mpofana ke tlhantlagana ya mmele re tshedisano ga e bonolo lelapa la berekelwa kutlwano ke lenyalo la dinonyana le le godimo gomutsame ke ditiro rato la mafoko a loe a re iteboge ka tlotlo fa re nwa ditshego tsa bosigo utlwa mmago botshelo motshwara tladimolala badimo ba nkutlwile mafifi a maloba ga sa ntwantsha moshibudi ngwatla ya themba o magetla a lefatshe la Bona,
My man, I want to marry you. Jeez.
Ya kila tera jwale putz ora. Ya ke ona no bona ya ke tlar.
How's love been for you?
Yeah, it's hard, my brother. That's I don't know how to articulate that, how to talk about it. It's
Yeah.
So lerato phela, it's a work in progress. It's kispane to be honest,
Sure.
and what's about you love a person outside of being with that person,
Yes.
right? And the person, not you see them as a person and you don't see them as a woman.
Sure.
There's like how much as Masadi, there's a certain level of objectification Mara wanna as mood.
Yes.
And khona le phidisano and understanding and as people what's a rabwansana, so
It stops being an objectification and starts almost being like a godly connection. Where o tlhaloganya why re utlwana.
completely.
Why utlwana le ene in a different way to someone else.
Look, and at the same time too, there needs to be a point where you and it does happen in a relationship where you like after maybe 5 years or something, you like take a break.
Yeah.
I need to be on my own actually to understand myself even more, and this is what's happening because as people, you need that, man. Capitalism wants us to be always on the rush, wants us to be everywhere at the same time, and you don't have time for yourself, you know, I mean, and you need that time for yourself to reflect, because if you're not patient with yourself, all of those things, essence, and it's rough, you know, and these are one of the things that I'm learning, and this is my first relationship, man. If anything, for me, it's always been about work, you know, so, and I'm learning a lot about myself in this relation more than anything else, and it's at that point now where it's sort of space, you know, okay, sharp, okay, Linda, okay, I want to it's at that point where, okay, so how is this working out? How am I working things out, you know?
How do you sometimes try and articulate vele that it's me, it's not you, I need this right now? Because sometimes you don't even have space to do that in a relationship.
It's not.
Because it's taken personally. Even if genuinely it's me, it's not you right now.
I don't know how you do it, man. I mean, it's a matter of making another person understand and to actually stress the fact that it's to be patient, you know, and it's not easy for you too as well, in that now, it's a physical thing. You are moving on a physical level, you know, like, okay, you're gonna go rent a spot, go live outside, you know, but you're still together, you know, you're still seeing each other, you still talk to each other. But how do you accept this part of wanting to do that? You know, and I suppose it has a lot to do with what leads to that, right? In that when you look back and reflect, you're like, I didn't feel okay here. I didn't feel like I was in this kind of a space or in this kind of a mode, you know, because of A, B, and C that was happening. And all of these things have a lot to do with outside pressures, you know, in that. When COVID hit, man, I mean, it was a bad time for each and every one of us, but I can't compare myself to everybody but myself and look at myself, you know, in that I can't perform in front of people on the screen. They look like they're dead. So I lost a lot of gigs on stuff like that because I couldn't do that. Me, I was clear, I'm not going to do that. You know, and you find that now we are confronted with the space issue now between me and her, you know, and so there is that situation happening.
And now you're stuck together.
And now, you know, I'm stuck on you. No. That's where it's at.
I'm on.
You know, that's exactly where it's at.
Now it's Freedom Day week. I mean, yesterday was Freedom Day. You launched Translating the Protea yesterday.
Yes, sir.
If you could freestyle for us, even if it's just, you know, a short poem about Freedom Day, what it means for you.
Okay. All right. Look, I mean, well, freedom. In what sense? In what way? I mean, freedom, the right to call ourselves, our souls, our own. This is the question we must keep asking. Do we have the right to call our souls our own? Do we belong to ourselves? Are we ourselves? Because liberation happens to come with the land. You know, I mean, if we are not liberated, if the land is not necessarily liberated from a nationalist point of view, then if anything, by any other way, we are not liberated. We are just liberals. So now we ask ourselves, how can an African be an alien in Africa? Gompieno ke apere pelo ka loleme gore o nkutlwe. Naledi goreng o sampone. Wa e bona riding.
Wa nkutlwa.
Goreng o sampone. Yeah, right? And for me, that
ke me apelo ga gago mme ga o mpone.
Bona.
Goreng o sampone.
And that's a poem that goes to Azania, if anything, you know, because it's a travesty of what's happening in this country, really, man. And I mean, you know, with this thing that the president has done, candidates can vote, but still the party has that much power still.
So you have a freedom to stand, but you're not free.
Oh, I want to treasure, but you know, I mean, and it's a lifetime project. Translating the Protea, that's what I was launching yesterday, right? And Translating the Protea is celebrating the writer's skill set outside of writing, my brother. We must be able to celebrate the writers outside outside of their skill set of writing, because poet is not just a poet ka poetry. O tseba puo di man. Di man wa bereka, di man wa spana, wa bona. And it takes an entire village to raise a child. And this was the very thing that was actually sort of taken away from you. You know, this is the Sun people have got a poem wearing the broken string, and this is where the string breaks. You know, if there's no connection to the fundamentalities of botshelo, of which is the lapa ke family. And when you take that and lipuisano, right? I mean, South Africa is one of those countries that got there's a problem. There's something that's problematic about South Africa, really, in all honesty. I mean, datili fifi wa sho gore a re itshebeng, right? I mean, hence the book is translated into all the languages, into the 3 languages first. The point is to translate the books into all the languages of South Africa, so that we don't have a stagnation of language where we find our languages not being given an opportunity to develop. So this is how we begin that sort of decolonial process of our. For me, it's a process of decoloniality where I take my poems and translate them.
And we can't wait for government to start the decolonialization of our education.
It's going to take time for government to do that, but I'm glad that the government institutions have come on board to actually fund the project.
Yes.
No, I have to give it up, man.
So who made it possible for
BASA, National Arts Council, the Department of Arts and Culture, and the stimulus employment thing, president, right? But here's the thing, Fresh, I had to apply. Yes. No, just because Mak Manaka doesn't necessarily mean No. I had to apply. I had to write the proposal. I had to put it in and actually bite my nails to the bone, hoping for the and now I'm actually sort of saying to private investors, to business South Africa, please go joining, come, please invest in us, invest in this project, in that we are able to speak the poems in our own languages.
How do we support the project? Where do we buy your books?
So the books are online. They're gonna on Manaka Publics, www.manakapublics.co.za.
Okay.
So for now, the distribution is happening via that,
okay.
And
manakapublics.co.za.
manakapublics.co.za. And this is a muscle that I'm still learning how to flex, my brother, to train.
Yes.
And I'll be really happy and glad to get some mentor, to get some understanding on how this business moves and how business moves in general, right? And I'd really be very I'd really appreciate it if we could get more support, monetary, resource-wise, any kind of support would do that makes the project move a step further, because there's other languages that still need to be translated. Now, it's nibap and place to translate, right? The poets need to be paid a certain fee. The linguists need to be paid a certain fee, right? The designer people need to be paid a certain fee. So all of these things, they come into play, and I'm only learning these things as it's a trial and error thing for me.
But also it's not a bad thing either, because there's a value chain then. You're creating jobs.
Definitely,
there's
for sure.
employment you're creating.
Definitely, for sure.
It's not even just about yourself.
No, it's not.
But it's about, there's so many people who can earn a living.
Definitely.
A decent, honest living along the way. So we need to get involved.
That's the point.
That we grow the value chain.
Exactly.
We grow our languages.
Exactly.
And we remind our children who the hell they are.
While training the poets, younger poets, older poets. And it's an intergenerational conversation, if anything, because with the inclusion of Ntatenape, Ntatenape made the book richer.
Yes.
In that it was only just Felasipedi in my head. And Ntatenape bare hape gona le Sesotho sa matlala, Sesotho sa maletso, gona le Sesotho sa batokwa. And I'm like, so so
this is all in one area.
All in one spot, right? In one book, too. And I'm like, geez. So we went back and forth dealing with other languages and looking at other languages and other people. These are nations, man. These are people. How you define a nation doesn't necessarily have to go according to the lines of UNESCO
or according to who conquered the nation previously.
If anything, these are nations and they need to be respected as such. I mean, some Ampondo, le sona, tshwantse se tlhaga, ene se tlo tlhaga, wa bona. Some Swati se tlo tlhaga, le sona, some Basotho se tlo tlhaga, le sona. And one needs, investment more than anything else to make sure that there's other translations that happen. So it's a lifetime attempt, if anything. This project, hence it's called Translating the Protea.
And you have our support, sir. Whatever the lifetime is, we will take the baton and keep passing it on.
Fire.
We'll keep supporting you.
Fire.
Manaka Publics.
ManakaPublics.co.za.
On social media, where do we find you?
Manaka Public, same thing. I think Instagram, Manaka Publics,
Yes,
Publics, MANAKAPUBLICS, Publics, right?
A poet and he spells.
Yes, and I spelled.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately we are out of time, but Mak Manaka, if you learn nothing from this man, if his poetry does nothing for you, learn this. You might have your spine snapped when you're just about to go into your prime, but you can still walk tall. Learn from this man. We stated in the opening that we wanted to both entertain and inform, and hopefully we've achieved those targets. You're obviously free to tell us either way. And on that note of freedom, all of us want to wish you a great Freedom Week, as well as a WAW Week in spite of yourselves. Thank you very much. Shout out to AMP Studios, Africa Podcast Network, Pezulu West for the cinematography, our audio engineer Otis the Flow Fraser, and our guest Robby Collins, comedian, funny guy, and obviously Mak Manaka, creative director Kuvesh Mohan, and our show producer Kele Zomudisakeng. Shout out to every single one of you. Email us at waw@africapodcastnetwork.com.
This is Wow! What a week.